What if I told you that nearly 1 out of every 3 Americans can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money or selling something? That's not a YouTube rumor. That comes straight from the Federal Reserve's Survey of Household Economics. Now here's the strange part. Many of those people don't earn minimum wage. Some have solid jobs. A few even make 6 figures. So what's going on? Let's break it down, because this isn't really about income, it's about how money is seen. Most people grow up learning one silent rule about money: spend it to keep life going. Nobody actually sits you down and says this, but life teaches it fast. You watch your parents stress about bills. You hear adults talk about rent, groceries, and car payments like they're unavoidable monsters. Before you even have a job, your brain files money under one category: survival fuel. And that single belief quietly shapes decades of choices. What if I told you money isn't the thing holding most people back? It's the job you've assigned it. Let's start with the first mindset almost everyone passes through: the survival mindset. In this phase, money exists to stop bad things from happening. You get paid, and the money already has a list of places it must go: rent, utilities, food, gas, insurance. If something breaks, the whole system starts shaking. There's no room for long-term thinking because the present moment feels like it's always on fire. Emotionally, this feels like standing on thin ice. The Federal Reserve also reports that nearly 37% of Americans say they'd struggle to handle a surprise bill of even a few $100s. That's not laziness, that's math mixed with stress. When you live this way, your brain is stuck in defense mode. Psychologists call this scarcity thinking. Studies from Princeton and Harvard show that when people worry about money, their mental performance drops. It's like trying to plan your future while a smoke alarm is screaming in your ear. You don't think about tomorrow, you think about surviving today. You're not building anything, you're patching leaks in a sinking boat. Now, here's where most people think they escape. They start earning more. They get a raise, a promotion, or a better job. This is where the second mindset appears: the comfort through credit mindset. This phase feels like winning. Suddenly, you can breathe. You qualify for better things. You upgrade your car. Maybe you buy a bigger house. You start using phrases like, "I deserve this," because after all, you worked hard. And honestly, you did. But here's the trap. Money is no longer just paying bills. It's now helping you borrow more. It smooths life. It cushions discomfort. It becomes the bridge between today's paycheck and tomorrow's lifestyle. The Federal Reserve reports that the average American household now carries over $100,000 in debt when you combine mortgages, auto loans, student loans, and credit cards. That's not a rare situation, that's normal. On the surface, this phase feels stable. You don't panic when groceries cost more. Your bills don't scare you as much. But under the hood, something hasn't changed at all. Your entire system still depends on your next paycheck. Miss one or two, and everything starts wobbling. It's like upgrading from a bicycle to a luxury car, but keeping the same fuel problem. The car looks amazing, but if the gas stops, you're still stuck. Here's the wild part. Many people in this stage truly believe they're wealthy because their life feels nicer. But their money still isn't creating safety, it's maintaining appearance. Now remember this, real wealth isn't about comfort, it's about control. This brings us to the third mindset, the one almost nobody is taught. In this phase, money exists for expansion, not survival, not comfort, growth. This is where the question changes. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" people ask, "What will this produce later?" Let's make this simple. If someone in survival mode gets an extra $1,000, it goes to overdue bills or basic needs. If someone in comfort mode gets it, it becomes a nicer couch, a weekend's trip, or a down payment on something shiny. But someone thinking in expansion terms sees that $1,000 as a worker. It's not meant to sit quietly. It's meant to do a job. Maybe it pays for a course that teaches a skill that earns more income. Maybe it seeds a side business. Maybe it goes into an asset that pays you every month. The form changes, but the rule doesn't. The money must grow or open doors. Now, this isn't just theory. According to data from the US Bureau of Economic Analysis, over 60% of household income in the top 10% comes from investments and business income, not wages. That's the difference. Their money is busy even when they're asleep. And emotionally, this changes everything. Fear fades. You stop thinking in emergencies and start thinking in options. Time stops being a threat and starts becoming an ally. Here's the part nobody tells you. Two people can earn the same income, live in the same city, and even work in the same office. One will feel stuck for decades. The other will feel free. The difference isn't effort, it's perception. Now remember, this shift doesn't require millions. It starts with questions. Every time you spend money, you're either feeding today or building tomorrow. So ask yourself this: is this purchase keeping my life from falling apart, making it look better, or helping it grow? Most Americans never leave the first two stages. They work hard, upgrade their lifestyle, and wonder why the finish line keeps moving. It's because they're running on a treadmill, not a road.
Let's pause here. In part 2, I'll show you how to begin making that mental shift, even if your bank balance isn't impressive yet, and why the smallest changes now matter more than a massive income later.
So let me ask you something uncomfortable. If you suddenly lost your job tomorrow, how long would your current life stay intact? 30 days? 60? According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American job now lasts a little over 4 years, and layoffs happen every economic cycle. Yet most people build their entire lifestyle on the idea that this paycheck will never stop. That's not confidence, that's hope disguised as planning. Now remember where we left off. We talked about 3 money rules: survival, comfort, and growth. Most people bounce between the first two their entire lives. They either fight fires or decorate the house while the wiring still sparks behind the walls. Here's how you start changing that, even if your bank account currently looks like a sad joke. First, you stop seeing leftover money as permission to relax. You start seeing it as responsibility. That sounds harsh, but it's freeing. The National Endowment for Financial Education reports that nearly 70% of Americans feel anxious about money at least once a month. Anxiety comes from not having control. Control begins when even small amounts have direction. Let's say you have $200 left at the end of the month. Most people treat that like a bonus round in a video game. Dinner out, new shoes, random online shopping. It feels like reward. Now, flip the script. That $200 isn't a treat, it's a seed. It doesn't matter where you plant it yet. What matters is that you train your brain to ask a new question. What will this create later? Maybe it buys a book that teaches you a new skill. Not a feel-good book, a practical one. The US Census Bureau shows that people with even modest side income streams are far less likely to fall into financial distress. That doesn't happen by accident. It starts with learning. Maybe that $200 funds a tiny test, a simple online product, a weekend gig, something that teaches you how income can come from systems, not just hours. This is how the shift begins. Not with a windfall, but with a habit. Now here's the next uncomfortable truth. Lifestyle is the enemy of freedom when it grows faster than your systems. The Federal Reserve data shows that as income rises, spending rises almost in lockstep for most households. That's why raises rarely fix anything long-term. Your income is like water pressure. If you keep adding holes, the pressure never builds. So instead of asking, what can I afford now, start asking, what can I postpone so I can build something that pays me later? This doesn't mean you stop living, it means you stop confusing comfort with progress. Think of it like planting a tree. You don't dig it up every time you want fruit, you water it, you wait, and for a while, it looks like nothing is happening. That's the part most people can't handle. Here's where time steps in. The Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis shows that households with investment income start pulling away from others after about 10 to 15 years, even when starting from similar wages, not because they were smarter, but because they were patient. Now let's talk about fear, because it's the real blocker. Fear makes you cling to what feels safe, a paycheck, a familiar routine, a predictable life. But safety is an illusion when everything depends on a single source. You don't get strong by avoiding storms. You get strong by building a roof that doesn't leak. So how do you build that roof? You start small and boring. You automate your future before you decorate your present. Even $50 a month into something that grows teaches your brain that money has another job besides disappearing. And don't wait until you feel ready. Readiness is just fear wearing a polite suit. Another thing wealthy thinkers do differently is how they view time. Most people sell it. They swap hours for dollars and call it fair, but there are only 24 hours in a day. That means your income has a ceiling. People who build growth systems don't fight that limit. They step around it. They use money to buy tools, education, or systems that keep working after their day ends.
This is why the Bureau of Economic Analysis reports that business income and dividends make up a huge portion of top household earnings. Their time is no longer the product, their systems are.
Now, let's be real. This path isn't glamorous. Nobody posts photos of spreadsheets or half-built ideas, but those quiet moves compound in ways weekend shopping never will. Here's a simple test. For the next 90 days, treat every extra dollar as if it were borrowed from your future self. Ask, will this make my life easier a year from now or just today? If it only solves today, pause. Not forever, just long enough to consider another option. And finally, let's talk about identity. You don't become financially free by hitting a number. You become free when your money stops needing you to survive. The Federal Reserve's survey of consumer finances shows that families with multiple income sources recover from financial shocks far faster than those with one. That's not magic, that's design. You don't need to be rich to start thinking this way. You just need to stop assigning your money the job of maintenance and start giving it the job of creation.
So let's wrap this up.
If your money only keeps life going, you'll always feel one step behind. If your money only improves comfort, you'll feel safe until the moment something breaks. But when your money starts building tomorrow, something strange happens. Stress loosens its grip, choices open up, and for the first time, you're not reacting to life, you're shaping it. And that starts today. Not when you earn more, not when the stars align, but when you decide that every dollar deserves a future.